what causes HPA axis dysfunction? Well, I alluded to it earlier that chronic stress is definitely the biggest culprit. You definitely want to make sure you keep your stress low. Aside from major life catastrophic events such as grief, most everyday stress can have a response in your body depending on how you perceive it. So it's not the amount of actual everyday stress that you have, it's how you perceive it. And if you perceive it in a more reactive way, then you're more likely to have issues with HPA axis dysfunction. If you don't have practices in place to manage your stress, then you're more likely to have this HPA dysfunction. And even though cortisol can cause issues with your sleep and blood sugar issues and energy, it's kind of a cycle. So if you are not getting good sleep, that further can raise your cortisol and further causing worsening problems with sleep. Same thing with the blood sugar imbalances. If you are eating like crap, that's going to even further cause insulin to spike and further affect your cortisol because your blood sugars are going to be affected. Other things that can cause chronic stress is overtraining. I had a patient one time, she couldn't figure out why she was so exhausted. She was in such great physical fitness when you looked at her, and we did her cortisol test and her cortisol was through the roof. She wasn't sleeping and wasn't feeling good because she was overtraining. I told her she had to minimize some of her HIIT training and try to do more relaxation workouts. It was very difficult for her, and she never came back to see me on follow-up, so I have no idea how she did, but I don't think she really liked me telling her that she couldn't do her HIIT workouts. The HIIT workouts are great if your stress system is working well and if you're doing it once or twice a week. But if you are finding that you're getting very fatigued from your workouts, then that may be a problem. I have many patients that will tell me they are working out like crazy and gaining weight. The first thing I think of is, are they overtraining, which is causing their cortisol to go up, which is causing them to gain weight? I will have them scale back on the workouts. They do start to see some results. Other things, there are infections such as Epstein-Barr virus, Lyme disease, mycotoxin poisoning that can cause issues with your HPA axis. If you have gut imbalances, if you have nutrient deficiencies, and I'll talk about that with treatment, but your cortisol balance depends on a lot of nutrients. And then if you have unresolved trauma, that is going to make it more likely for you to have issues because your brain is always in survival mode. If you grew up with major traumas such as abuse, unless you process that, even if you feel mentally you're not thinking about it, your body keeps score and your body will go into fight or flight when it's in certain situations that may trigger that trauma. So it's really important that you do trauma therapy if you have experienced any major traumas. Some people have experienced just a lot of little traumas that have affected them, so that's also very important to process. All right, so stay tuned for part 5 where I go into the various treatments for HPA axis dysfunction. If you like this video, please share it with someone that you think might benefit from this information, and have a fantastic day.